Well, hello again from me, Mike Smith, as I attempt in the next very short space of time to wrap up the action on today's seventh stage of the Centenary Tour from Lyon to Morzine. The longest stage of the tour, 230.5 kilometres, just 500 metres longer than yesterday, but a very different terrain, as you can see. We're going up into the Alps, and that first category climb near the end, Col de la Ramaz, the feature point of the race. Just two intermediate sprints on the way. It's usually the way when we get into the mountains. And temperatures, well, once again, very, very hot. The weather's been unbelievably warm so far in this Centenary Tour, has it not? Look at that. Temperature in Morzine predicted to be 30 Celsius for the arrival of the riders. So, the pictures from Lyon and the rollout. Peña still in yellow, of course, for US Postal. Bandages on the arm of Eric Zabel after that crash yesterday near the finish. And out then to the start proper on the outskirts of Lyon. And immediately, absolutely immediately, Crédit Agricole's Benoît Poilvet bursting out of the peloton, quickly followed by Médéric Klein for Cofidis. Well, two more coming up very quickly after that. Rolf Aldag for Telecom and Paolo Bettini for Quickstep. So making a nice four-man breakaway as we go on to the first climb, the Col des Portes, the top of which comes after 56 kilometres. A little bit of a flurry out of the peloton. But Virenque very quick to react to that. Richard Virenque, 5 times a stage winner in the Tour de France. And a problem for the green jersey. Petacchi absolutely dead on his feet, and Petacchi out of the race. Up front, though, an attack by Bettini. And Bettini going over the top of the climb, just ahead of Aldag and Poilvet. Klein dropped on the climb, but Virenque chasing behind at around about 2.5 minutes. Well, here we see the Virenque chase getting up to the leaders. So now 5-man, a break. Klein getting back on the descent. Bettini, Virenque, Aldag, Poilvet and Klein then with the peloton here at a massive 6 minutes and 23 seconds, but still at this stage not even halfway through. Over the second climb, and Virenque taking it from Bettini, Poilvet and Aldag. That's the Côte du Mont des Princes, a second category climb. And the peloton now at 8 minutes, with Klein once again dropped on this second climb between the breakaway and the main field. On to the Côte de Crozet after 141.5 kilometres. This a third category climb. Virenque, Bettini, Poilvet and Aldag. Klein really struggling now and virtually back in the peloton, but that peloton's deficit up now to 8 minutes at this stage. Jan Kirsipou retired, Polak retired, Velo retired, Perez retired. A lot of riders shelled out of the back. But then the main peloton stopped at a level crossing. The breakaway gets through Virenque, Bettini, Poilvet and Aldag, but another minute or so lost by the main field. But now on to the really big climb, the Col de la Ramaz, the top of which comes at 208.5 kilometres. This the fourth King of the Mountains climb of the day, but this, of course, a first category climb. And suddenly, Virenque attacking Aldag. Virenque out on his own now, going for a possible 6th stage victory in the Tour de France. Simoni, meantime, twice winner of the Giro d'Italia, won it this year, of course, in real trouble off the back. And this looks like Botero. It is indeed Santiago Botero, also off the back and in trouble. Virenque near the top now. The peloton closing, but not fast enough. Virenque fastening his crash hat in preparation for the long descent down into the valley below. Over the top, Mercado, the little Spaniard, just breaks clear of the peloton to take 4th place behind Virenque. Aldag and Poilve. Now Virenque onto the last little climb of the day, the Côte de l'Egypte. Only a third category climb, this one, 5 kilometres long. And Virenque taking more points to put him in the King of the Mountains lead, and coming down into Morzine with plenty of time in hand, and indeed more than enough to take not just the stage victory, not just the King of the Mountains jersey, but also the coveted yellow jersey of overall race leadership. A very, very brave ride by the big Rolf Aldag, not really a mountain climber, coming in second place at 2 minutes 29, and Chavanel just taking third place ahead of Rogers and the rest of that lead group, which was very much thinned down in the final two climbs. But Richard Virenque, at 33 years of age, doing what he did in Morzine 3 years ago. Aldag then at 2:29, Chavanel at 3:45, just staving off the pack, such as it was, because so many riders had lost a lot more time than that. Well, here's Richard Virenque, and being told that it's 11 years since he last won the yellow jersey. Yes, he says, it's magic. I've come the complete cycle now to get it again. I feel I'm a fulfilled man right now. I win the stage, I win the jersey too. It's incredible. But I will concentrate on defending the polka dot jersey. I think that is something I can do all the way to Paris.
Comment avez-vous vécu ces 185 km d'échappée? C'est à quel moment vous vous êtes dit allez, cette fois c'est vraiment on peut y aller?
How did you manage to survive on this long break? You were at the front for nearly 200 kilometers. Well, Bettini was up front, my teammate, so I wanted to eventually bridge the gap. He was about a couple of minutes in up on the first climb, but I made a big effort to get him in. Paolo did his best to slow things down at the front. I hope I don't pay for my efforts later in the tour. Are you surprised that the US Postals and Lance Armstrong didn't put more pressure on you from behind? No, I don't. I'm not too surprised, because I don't think Lance Armstrong sees me as a big threat for the yellow jersey in Paris. I'm concentrating on the polka dot. The yellow is fantastic, but Armstrong, particularly in the time trials, is still the favourite for overall victory. What are you going to do with this yellow jersey then? You're certainly not going to just give it back. Oh, no, no. I will just take one day at a time and see what happens. Well, Rolf Aldag, as I said, was one of the heroes of the day. The telecom man, he's a big, big lad, and you really wouldn't have expected him to perform so well over these mountains. So let's just find out a little bit more on Rolf Aldag, who's been a trackie, a great 6-day rider on the indoor boards in his career. He's 34 now, getting on a bit, I suppose, a whole year older than Richard Virenque. Ranked 211 in the world, although he has been much higher than that. His highest placing in the Tour has been 7th so far. Total professional wins, well, he's had 16 wins. He's been the German champion. That was the Road Race Championship 3 years ago. And he has had placings in Tour de France stages before, although he's never managed to win one. 9th in Paris-Roubaix on a couple of occasions too. Well, that's never a race that you can take for granted. So he's a hard man, is Rolf. Now then, look at this. Suddenly today we've had 11 withdrawals on the first mountain stage of this year's Tour. That compares actually quite well with previous years. Just look at this, coming back up to date from 1999, from the bottom up. 13 on the first mountain stage, 18 in 2000, 23 in 2001. That was that terrible day. Do you remember that 2 years ago when they were climbing off like flies? And last year it was better, only 12 withdrawals. But 11 withdrawals today, including Mr. Pataki, I'm afraid. He didn't make it. He was in trouble on the first climb. 4 stage wins, yes, but he's out of the race. Now to the favourites' delay after the first mountain stage, based on Lance Armstrong. Well, Richard Virenque himself, well, of course, he's 2 minutes and 37 seconds up if you look at the right-hand column. Bellocchi, meantime, runner-up last year in Paris, 32 seconds down. Ulrich is 38 seconds down. Manchego, 1 minute 29. Tyler Hamilton, wow, hasn't he done amazingly well? Still in there at 1 minute 44 despite that shoulder injury. And Christophe Moreau, prologue winner a couple of years ago, he's still battling on today in the mountains, still only 2 minutes and 2 seconds in arrears. Now then, to our quick poll result for you. We asked you whether you thought the Alps or the Pyrenees would be the decisive point of this year's race. Aha, the Pyrenees have it. Thank you very much for your contributions. 57.7% of you said it will not be decided before the Pyrenees. 42.3% suggested that it would be decided in the Alps. Thanks for that. We'll have another quick poll for you tomorrow. Well, Richard Virenque, unquestionably the hero of the day, and for the French, well, they wanted something like this, didn't they? They've not had a lot to shout about in recent years, and they're still looking for somebody to win the Tour de France for France. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Well, let's have a quick look at stage 8, and this is the one that everybody's been waiting for, from Salanches up to L'Alpe d'Huez, a slightly shorter stage in terms of mileage, because it's a mere 219 kilometres, but boy, it's the classic stage. It had to be in the Centenary Tour, did it not? The climb up to the top of L'Alpe d'Huez, and I'm sure even as I speak now, there are probably thousands up there with their camper vans or whatever, camped out. They've found their favourite spot. They'll wait overnight and most of tomorrow as well for the riders to come up so that they can cheer on their heroes on that final hairpin bend strewn climb up to the top of L'Alpe d'Huez. An hors category climb, out of category, not a fourth, not a third, not a second, not even a first category climb. It's hors category. It is a real humdinger of a climb, as I'm sure you regulars know. But before then, we've got the Col du Telegraph on the way up to the mighty Col du Galibier, the highest point of the entire Tour de France this year. That also is an hors category climb. Well, we turned our attentions to twice former winner Laurent Fignon to look at this stage. Laurent says it's a very important stage. The Alpe d'Huez will be the second mountain stage of the Tour. Long stage, 219 kilometres, following those two that we've just had of 230k. I think it'll be a very decisive stage for all the favourites. You've got the Galibier, that's a 30-kilometre climb, remember. The Col du Telegraph on the way. And then, of course, the Alpe d'Huez with its 21 hairpin bends. It's a legendary climb. I'm sure we're going to have many surprises on what I think is a very difficult mountain stage. The favourites will show themselves here, of course, in a stage like this one. It should be a very exciting day on this Centenary Tour. Well, there's the profile. Look at the Galibier there, 3/4 of the way through the stage, and then, of course, the finish in L'Alpe d'Huez. The temperatures, well, 30 degrees in the valleys, but only 22 at the top of L'Alpe d'Huez. Well, you would expect that, of course. Nevertheless, still another lovely day for the Centenary Tour. Well, just a reminder that I'll be back with the full highlights tonight at the usual time of 10 o'clock Central European time, which is 9 o'clock on British Eurosport. And then tomorrow we're on air live for the last 2 hours of the stage, starting at 4 o'clock Central European time, 3 o'clock in the UK. That's it. L'Alpe d'Huez, stage 8 of the Centenary Tour. Hope you'll join us then. Hope you'll join me later this evening. But until then, from Mike Smith, on behalf of all of the commentary team, time to say goodbye.